This video is sponsored by Ground Branch, the uncompromising thinking man's FPS from one of the developers behind the original Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon games. Live out your tactical fantasy through 8-player co-op multiplayer, complete with proximity chat and in-depth character and weapon customization. Don't have 7 friends to play with? Well, head on down to your local grocery store and start asking strangers in the produce aisle. Also, while you're there, please check to see if the heirloom tomatoes are still on sale. Those juicy little guys are so delicious. Ground Branch is here to put the tactical back into tactical shooter, and the big version 1034 update makes the experience even better thanks to map improvements, additional playable characters, and the new prone stance. So what are you waiting for? Start shouting things like breach, suppressing fire, and I've got your 6 to all your new produce aisle pals today in Ground Branch. Available now on Steam in early access.
Welcome to Firelink Podcast. This is episode number 18 for Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. My name is Marty Sleva. As always, joined by Casey Wosu, Nick Calandra, and our producer, Eric, who tried to get me to slow down, but this train cannot be stopped. Once the train stops, it doesn't restart. So we just gotta roll through it.
Like a reverse speed, if you will.
So if you missed the first couple words of this, you know what? You got to piece it together. It's called implied storytelling. Just look at every other podcast I've ever done. You're going to know exactly what the opening is.
I would actually be really impressed if he told you to reverse your intro and you suddenly started talking all of it backwards to put it
like
back.
the little man from Twin Peaks who dances and tells him that his gum is coming back.
Big brain to do that.
It's large brain. I'm not capable of doing that. I don't think I could do the alphabet backwards or anything. I don't think anyone can.
I don't know.
It's a myth. Welcome everyone to the show. We have a pretty dang swell show for you all. We got some Hades news dropping today, and I got a little exclusive for you guys. I got to play Hades 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I clicked the button the other day. I was like, yeah, I'm interested in this stress test. And today they just sent me a code. Or like Steam sent me a code. Makes it sound like I'm way cooler. I just clicked the button and the rest of it did the work.
But I mean, there was a selection process, so you're cooler than everyone else who tried and didn't get in.
You know what? As the only person on the panel who streamed the video game Bastion a month and a half ago, well earned. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, but I played and beat it like a year ago.
Played beat it?
Is that a game?
No, I played and beat Bastion a year ago.
Oh, Bastion's great.
Yeah,
Bastion's great. Did you
Bastion crashed my laptop when I tried to play
it
like, years ago.
What are you playing on a laptop for?
Because I was the only way I could get that game like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I shouldn't be hating. I don't know why I'm hating on you for playing on a laptop, playing whatever you want. It's your special day. So yeah, we'll be talking about Hades 2. It's early access news, what they showed off today, what I thought about playing it, and kind of the interesting that we have. I think, Nick, I know you and I seem to not do a lot of early access things, but there's between this and No Rest for the Wicked, I feel like there's like a lot of I'm like, should I? I'm like, I don't want to. Should I?
It's becoming the wave that the early access experience is a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah, and you're getting games that early access, I guess, had a connotation of this was multiplayer games, like these like bigger things. With these are both single player. I think the other one's single player, right? No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah, it's single player.
Yeah, there you go. We'll also be talking a bit about Fallout. Nick and I have watched quite a bit of it. Casey watched a little bit of it, but talking more about the Fallout sort of TV show as a pop culture icon. That it seemed like that's like kind of the big thing everyone's been talking about for the past week, and how that has impacted the old games, people going back to check out, and why this series seems to hit in a way that. So let's just pull a random other first party Xbox game. Halo didn't quite hit. And then we'll be talking about our main topic, obviously, which what goes into critics. What do critics have inside them? That dog? Do you have that dog?
Endless cynicism.
That dog. And so we're gonna talk a little about that, and then stuff we've been playing, including Fallout the TV show, Duck Paradox, and Manor Lords.
I don't know why you read that the way you just did.
Did you enjoy Duck Paradox? I hope you enjoyed Duck Paradox.
I absolutely loved Duck Paradox. I don't often put the thing I did for Hidden Gems as a talking point on this show because I forget about it.
Yeah.
I have not stopped thinking about Duck Paradox.
When I recommend a game, I get worried because I'm like, if you don't like it, that's on me. And if you do like it, then I like feel a little bit good. But like
Hey,
this,
welcome to my
sorry.
weekly routine with Yahtzee.
Yeah, he really
I'm
enjoyed
like,
Children of the Sun today, so I feel like that was a W for this.
Every time I think I know his taste, and then I recommend him a game, he's like, "No, I hate it, and I hate you now."
Oh, that's excessive.
I mean, you know what? Deserved.
Don't need to go to that second step.
Yeah, someday when we go back to GDC, if I recommend him a game that he really, really hates, I'm worried he might actually push me into traffic.
Maybe you gotta do reverse psychology. Like, oh, this is a game you wouldn't possibly like, and then he'll like it out of
But that's too easy. I know what he wouldn't like.
you gotta challenge his gamer cred. You're like, oh, Yahtzee, this might be too hard for you. This might be too tricky for you.
Oh, this has got too many big words for you, Yahtzee. You have to be able to read all those big words.
No balls.
Yeah, he would not. He would not be able to resist.
You won't play Halo, Yahtzee. No balls.
Halo's got too many big words. But speaking of playing games, our big event tomorrow is our charity stream, which starts tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central. It is going to be 12 hours long, and we're going to be going through a bevy of different games, including Helldivers 2, Fall Guys, The Return of Dokapon Kingdom, 4 straight hours starting at 2 p.m. Central. And then afterwards, clearing out the night with some Lethal Company and some First Class Trouble. We'll all be there. Yahtzee and Jack will be there. Jess and Elise will be there. Jesse will be there. Frost will be there. Jamaid everyone will be there. It's that Smash thing. Everyone's here. Remember Smash?
Everybody's here.
Yahtzee and Jack play Helldivers 2 tomorrow, and me not accidentally team kill them over and over again. You were in for a treat right away in the morning.
And then you wonder why. Then you wonder why Yahtzee wants to put you in the traffic.
No,
things like this. Yeah. Anixia right off the bat. Thank you so much, Anixia. Been a member for 5 months. Charity stream. She's my favorite. Can't wait.
Too early in the day for that.
Too early for that?
Yeah. I mean, I took a nap before the stream started, so you know.
That changes nothing about what time
I
was.
was making us dash and you were sleeping?
Yeah.
Your nap has no effect on what time of day it is right now, though.
That's not true.
I hope you understand that.
That's not true. When I go to sleep, the day goes in reverse.
You can't say day goes on the stream. You can't say that. Shout out to our Italian American audience. You guys want to talk about Hades?
You want to talk about Hades nuts?
I knew it. I was waiting for it.
Like, what the fuck is happening?
You talk about it. You're the one who's playing it.
All right, we don't have to say it like that. Exclusive loser. It wasn't even a work account. It was just like
getting personal.
Because he's playing a game I want to play, but I also don't want to play until it's done.
Did you hit the button for the playtest?
No.
Yeah, so you don't want to play it, Nick.
I will get a code like
you're not a real fan.
Journalist like I am.
You're not a real fan. You're not a real journalist because they didn't give you a code.
Punk ass honky. Hades 2. Supergiant did a little stream earlier today of the technical test, which is a thing that is available now to some people who clicked the button and signed up for it. The technical test is a prelude to their early access launch of the game, which seems like it's coming pretty soon. It sounds like they didn't know the exact of all this stuff, but it sounds like their technical test is going to last, they said, maybe a few weeks, but then the early access sounds like will be shortly after that. So Hades 2, like Hades 1, will be available in early access on Steam, and then I imagine once it launches in 1.0 is when it'll release on consoles. I guess it launched as a Switch console exclusive originally, so I don't know if that's going to be the same.
Probably don't need that.
Is it even on PlayStation and Xbox? That's a weird...
It came to like Game Pass even eventually.
Yeah. Okay. But it's interesting because when the original Hades went in early access, I don't feel like, despite the fact that Supergiant, I feel like, is a really loved and respected developer from their previous 3 games, but it didn't feel like there was this rush of people. I didn't really know anyone who was playing the game in early access. I knew the game was in early access, and I'd seen it shown off, and I was excited for it because Supergiant, to me, was 3 for 3 going up to that. And when the game finally came out, obviously it was incredible. I think all of us really like it. It's just really fucking good game. And so it's interesting now. It just feels like this thing like catapulted them into a different stratosphere
Absolutely.
of developer. Like those 3 games were loved. Like this game is like beloved, like generationally loved. And so it's gonna be interesting to see if more and more folks jump into it in early access this time, or if they're kind of like Nick and I, where we have this, I guess, slight aversion of like, well, if I'm gonna play it, I might as well wait until it's done. But then, I mean, not to step on the shoes of our main topic, like, well, is it our job? Is it our duty as Americans to play this game? To let people know? Like Casey, are you gonna jump into Hades early access?
I was not planning on it, honestly. Like as beloved as Hades is, I've only spent a very limited amount of time with it. So like I'm not super
Blasphemous.
I'm not part of
It's
the
a
core
different game.
Hades fandom, right?
Oh, that's surprising.
but-
For some reason, I thought you really liked it.
No, I do really like it. I haven't played much of it. Like from what I played, I really liked.
I love
Like-
it so much I'd never want to play it.
I mean, I got other shit to play. That and
Smash Bros
Dead
doesn't
Cells.
count.
Smash Bros always counts.
But Zagreus and Smash, you cowards.
Oh man.
That'd be great, actually.
Yeah.
But no, like I think to the point you're making, like how when the first game was in early access, it wasn't as big a deal, even though Supergiant, had a pedigree. I think early access itself was just not as big a deal back then, right? Like there weren't as many people who even knew what that was, let alone were like buying into it. Like it's a much more sort of, I guess, trusted version of a game release. Like we're coming off the heels of Baldur's Gate 3, which was a very big one of those.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
and in general, I think just the bar has been raised a lot higher for like what an early access game even is. Like a lot of these games are a lot closer to what will be the end product than they were when this was happening, around when the first game dropped.
Yeah, and it feels like, I know they said for the original Hades that this allowed them to like really fine tune things, because ultimately you're just getting like magnitudes of player data that you just couldn't get with even like the most liberal QA system and playtesters and everything. So that's part of the reason, they attribute that to why when Hades did launch in 1.0 back in 2020, it just right off the gate was like so polished and so great and so beloved by folks. I'm really excited for it, and I really liked what I played, and I talked about what I played. However, it feels like I'm slightly disappointed, even though I understand why they're doing a Hades 2, that they're not just doing something else. Because one of the coolest things about them, I thought, was
that they never went back to the.
They never went back, but
Yeah.
everything felt like it was like taking what we learned from the previous game, but then like using it on a completely different canvas. So you could like see the trajectory, but then they would kind of zig and zag every once in a while. Whereas this, it felt like Hades 2, and I don't mean that pejoratively, but that's just how it felt to me. This one takes place it's a sequel to Hades where you play as Zagreus' little sister, who's not even born in Hades 1. I don't even think she's ever referenced in Hades 1, so I think this is supposed to be like 20 years or something after the first game. And her name's Melano, and she's like a witch kind of, and so she has as long with her health bar, she has like a magic bar as well that you can, so it's like a second commodity that you're juggling. And the 2 weapons in the demo was a more of like a ranged kind of a witch's staff, and then a pair of swords, which again were very cool. The combat was great. The monsters was cool. The thing culminated in this neat boss fight against a character named Hecate, who is sort of like one of like your witch pal, your witch mentor. I don't know what, like, if
you're
like
fighting her like for fun.
Yeah, you fight her. It's some of the bosses in Hades were the same thing, where it was more of like a, well, let me see if you can get past here, kind of thing, as opposed to like I'm going for the throat. But it's interesting because in this one, it seems like a reverse Hades, whereas Hades was all about you're trying to get out of hell. This feels like you're trying to get back into hell, because you got some unfinished business, and like the main bad guy is the Titan Kronos, who's like the Time Lord, and it seems like there's some timey shit in here, time shenanigans going on. There's like a flashback to Melano's youth in the demo, so yeah, I'm excited for it. It seems like it has the same interlocking systems, the same roguelike, when you die, you go back to your hub, but you've gained some progress via X, Y, and Z, and the same extremely charming and horned up NPCs. were in the original, and I feel like they've leaned even heavier. They've realized like, oh, people were
This
really
is
horned
a
up
this is
for
a
our
selling
characters.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, really, really cool. Exactly, kind of what I thought and expected. Again, like there's 1% of me that's disappointed this isn't something new, but I have no doubt this is going to be a really, really incredible game. Do you think you will, Nick? Do you think you will jump into this in early access and same thing with No Rest for the Wicked?
No, I don't think I'm gonna jump into Hades to early access. It's I just want to play it when it's done kind of game. No Rest for the Wicked, that one is more focused on, the ARPG aspect of leveling up your character, loot, all that kind of stuff. And so like those kind of games I don't really have any problem jumping into in early access. Plus I feel like Hades, I know what to expect. For No Rest for the Wicked, I really have no idea what to expect. And also like it's such a departure for Moon Studios from Ori and the Blind Forest that I'm definitely like, I want to get on the ground floor of checking this out and provide thoughts to the audience and everything like that. So definitely, yeah, like I don't feel any reason to play Hades 2 before it's done.
That comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, it does. No Rest for the Wicked comes out tomorrow in early access.
Is
So,
it
I mean,
PC, or is
the
it
way-
coming to like a cool thing?
Just PC.
Fuck.
So
You have a Steam Deck. You can play it on Steam Deck.
Fuck.
so
Sorry, what were you
the way early access has worked and still works today is like you still buy this game.
Yeah.
So like what are they? Usually there's some sort of discount, right? Like what are they charging for both Hades 2 and No Rest for the Wicked right now?
Oh, that's a good question. 25.
For both? Or you're guessing?
No, I don't know. I don't how is there even a way to know that? I mean,
Because
I don't think
for Hades 2, like because
doesn't have a
it's a
price.
direct. Yeah, it probably wouldn't because this is just a tech test or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But for Hades 2, since that is kind of a known quantity, like that does feel like more of a safe bet if you were going to try to get in early because you actually get
Yeah.
a discount. Like it's like the opposite of a pre-order almost. Like I'm gonna just buy the game when it's half
like,
done,
I mean, I can
and then
buy
I
the
get
game,
the
I'm just
rest
not
for
gonna
free
play it.
later. Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. But like this actually seems like a deal in that regard versus something like just a pre-order for something you've not got your hands on.
Sure. Yeah, and I also don't have any price info for No Rest for the Wicked. What are we doing as a society not telling me about prices?
Real quick, Eric, if you end the recording on the encoder, that might fix it. We have very choppy video right now.
I mean, if the audio's fine, we can power through it. I think, right?
Yeah, just don't run any more trailers and stuff for this one.
Chat, just close your eyes and use theater of the mind. Just pretend that when we're talking about games that you can see what their images look like. Yeah, I'm always excited for what folks like. It's always nice, especially in the sort of indie smaller space, that it's exciting when a team sort of jumps on the map and then you see them grow and then they're at a point where like people are like rabid about what their next thing is.
Mhm.
And that's been interesting with like there was the Nintendo Indie Showcase this morning, and everyone was like, this is it, this is Silk Song's time. And it's so funny because like Hollow Knight, when it came out, was not a big deal when it launched. Like
Yeah,
Team
no
Cherry,
one
knew who
cared
they
about Hollow
were.
Knight.
It was just kind of a Metroidvania. And then over the last 5-6 years, it's become one of the most beloved games, and people are obsessed with obsessed with Silksong. Like it is up there. It is as anticipated as literally any game. And so it's exciting to see. It feels like these teams kind of like graduate from the minor leagues to like, oh, you're in the big leagues now. Like a Hades 2 or a Silksong are like as high caliber and high profile now as an Elden Ring or a first party Sony game or first party Nintendo game or anything like that.
Yeah, they got that mojo.
It's also the weight of expectations on them, though, because that's what happened
Yeah.
to Red Hook Studios with Darkest Dungeon. They really changed things up for Darkest Dungeon 2, and the
Yeah.
original fan base didn't love it, but a new fan base did love it, and then they have an in-between audience. So, yeah, like I feel like Supergiant just doing Hades 2, like it is their very first sequel, probably the safest route for them to go. Secure some more money, make another really, really good game, build upon that original, then get back to doing new IP again.
I mean, Hades sold so much more than their first 3 games
Oh, I know.
combined.
Yeah,
Like
it's not even
so
close.
much more. So you understand why that happens. In the same way, like we did that indie stream whatever a few weeks ago, and we saw a lot of sequels there. It was like, oh, there's more Slay the Spire, like that kind of thing. Of
like all those big indie names were kind of just getting their
if
second
it's a safe
second
bet,
games out.
yeah, it's almost
You know what?
like you get that these people like it's so successful that you kind of can't escape its orbit.
Yeah, you know what? The one that I think about a lot for an indie developer that like had a really, really big hit on their first go was Axiom Verge. And Axiom
Oh,
Verge
yeah.
2 like completely bombed, I think. Like the first
Yeah, it wasn't a
game,
bad game. It just didn't. I think the
First-
problem was when Axiom Verge 1 released, it felt very unique in terms
Mhm.
of like there weren't a
Yeah.
whole lot of people doing that thing. And then in the subsequent 5 years or whatever, 6 years, it just became a thing that you can't toss a rock on Steam without hitting a game like that.
Yeah, well, first game on Steam has like just under 5,000 reviews. Sequel, less than 500 reviews.
Wow.
And maybe it's a marketing thing. Like
I don't know how well it did on Switch. I assume it did better there, but yeah, even
like maybe a lot of people who played the first one just don't even know that there was a second game that came out.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that'll we'll be following more on that and more on Hades when more of us get to play it in the early access. Once it hits early access, I'm sure we'll stream it and everything. So yeah, stay tuned for more of that. And then I mean, speaking of things sort of exceeding its expectations, the Fallout series debuted last week. Somewhat controversially dropped all 8 episodes at once, which is a rarity for Amazon, where it's airing.
Yeah.
Amazon generally they tend to do a small batch on day 1 and then weekly. Like I think The Boys does 3 episodes at once and then weekly from there.
Did they drop all of Mr. and Mrs. Smith at once?
No.
No, that was weekly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's like I'm sure they've probably done this before with shows, but this
Should have
seems
done it for Rings of Power.
rare. Yeah, right. Definitely should for Rings of Power. But the show seems to be predominantly like really well received. Fans of Fallout really like it. People who have never played Fallout, me, really enjoyed it, and we're seeing just the data on places like Steam and everything. The numbers of concurrent players playing Fallout 3, New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, really kind of skyrocketed.
Even the mobile game.
Even the mobile, yeah, Fallout Shelter. And it's funny because Fallout Shelter, like the show starts off in one of the vaults, so like that might be like the most, like if you watch the first episode, you're like, oh, this is probably the most representative of what it's like.
That's how Fallout 4 starts here in the vault. Fallout starts in the vault, so it's kind of. I think Fallout 3 is starting the vault.
Yeah,
too.
3
every game starts
is
in
a
the vault.
big chunk in the vault. Yeah.
But then so folks have been seemingly enjoying it. This feels like it's a resurgence for the series, which hasn't been in the best standing over. I feel like this series, like love of the series, has waned a little bit in the same way that love and respect for Bethesda's kind of waned a little bit between Fallout 76 and then obviously Starfield. But this feels
Even
like
4 was very much received super highly.
Skyrim feels like their last like universally beloved game, right? At least their last universally Bethesda game studios. But it just feels like that in the same way where all of a sudden after like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, people were like, oh, fucking Cyberpunk's cool. And then Phantom Liberty comes out and they're like, oh, fuck, Cyberpunk's great. Like, I feel like this almost feels like this is the best PR Bethesda's had in a long time. Yeah.
No, like absolutely. Like that like it is truly fascinating to me how big of an effect something like a successful non-game arm of this brand can have an effect on the main thing. Like to the point where people you can see on Twitter kind of just rewriting history about their love and appreciation for 4, which was just not a thing when that game released.
Yeah. But also it feels like we're at that time where it's like, oh, it's been 10 years. We're going to get that critical reappraisal. Right. People are going to be saying the same thing about Arkham Knight. Like, yeah.
I always loved Arkham Knight. I liked the tank nonsense.
You liked the tank nonsense?
I liked it. It was like, you got to play with the Batmobile. That was the first time you could do that in the game. Sure, you had to shoot a bunch of weird like VR tanks or whatever.
Yeah,
But the Batmobile was cool. I'm a fan of Arkham Knight.
Yeah,
I actually was too. I actually was.
getting back to Fallout, like I Fallout 4 I've tried to play multiple times and I just can't. Like I find the world incredibly boring. And that's after like actually really liking Fallout 3 when I was growing up, but Fallout 4 just I can't. I've tried. Actually, Fallout 76's world is actually really interesting. It's just the gameplay always burns me out after a while, just because again I don't really I find Fallout as a sandbox world interesting, but like their quests have never really hooked me or anything like that.
Yeah.
The show, on the other hand, like I'm loving the show, and I think we talked about it a couple weeks before it came out, where I said this. I feel like Fallout. It'd be hard to really mess up Fallout as long as you get the feel of the world right and like really just build a unique story within the Fallout universe, whatever you're going to do with that. As long as the aesthetics are right, the sound is right. Yeah. Halo, on the other hand, like we talked about, like if you're going to try to adapt a story that already exists, well, you got to make it work for TV. Halo's story is really kind of light, so you got to fill in a lot of those gaps. So Fallout just kind of gives you a blank canvas to play around with, and that's why like I think it's done really well. And not only that, like Jonathan Nolan like really seems to just get like video game language. And so like one of the I made a tweet about it the other night that went kind of a little bit got quite popular. When you're watching Fallout, like the show doesn't try to be a non-video game show. It knows what it is. It literally, the dog gets stabbed at one point and they shoves a stim pack and the dog's immediately up and ready to go again. And it's like that's video game, like that's a like fun Easter egg to video games. Like he understands and respects. This is a video game first, not a show first. And so like putting that language in there that can appeal to both audiences and also like just lean into the ridiculousness of video game logic, right? Like red barrels blow up, stim pack, you're immediately ready to go and fight again. Makes no sense, but who fucking cares? The show's fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that stuff works specifically with Fallout really well because of the tone of the show and everything. And there's even things like the Brotherhood of Steel Knights have their squires who are just lugging a bunch of shit. And it's just like the idea of all the shit you carry in these open world games. Like you just have a dude behind you just pack muling it for you. Even to things like people have been breaking down like, oh, what would Lucy's character spec, like what would her spec sheet look like what points would she have in like charisma and stuff like that.
In the first episode she literally tells you what she put her proficiencies in. She's like, oh, I studied this, I did that. Blah, blah.
It's really neat. Even like it's how it shows in these moments of violence that kind of like feel like the VAT system, where it's almost like these shots like kind of like zooming into the extreme gore of a bullet hitting a head and just it absolutely exploding. We won't go into don't we're not gonna go into like spoilers or anything for the show. But it's also just the cast, like 2/3 of the lead. So far the Knight to me is like a big nothing burger. I don't understand what's going on with that dude.
I actually really like his character. He's literally the embodiment of a power trip in a video game, where like you're just a nobody in this world. He gets the suit, and then all of a sudden, like people start respecting him. He's like, yes, I can do whatever I want to you now. He's literally the embodiment of like an RPG character. It's great.
I think, that guy doesn't work on me yet, but Walton Goggins and Ella Purcell, who plays Lucy, like they're both fucking magnetic. Walton Goggins is perfect in everything.
Yeah, Walton Goggins, I am such a big fan of that man.
Yeah, I feel bad that man had to be in that chair all day to look like a ghoul.
A bunch of people in chat are like saying they haven't checked out the show yet. Like, Fallout is not an adaptation of anything. It is literally just set in the Fallout universe.
Not need to care about Fallout to enjoy this show.
You don't have to care about it at all. And it's like it's like well written. The action is really good. The the general just goofiness of it against the backdrop of a very serious situation is really fun. It's just a fun show. Like it's just really fun to watch.
Yeah, and it makes me curious if how this is going to impact a few other things. Amazon, this isn't the only video game thing Amazon has in production. I believe Amazon has the rights to the God of War
They have
series.
God of War? I thought that was going to be a
Yeah.
movie.
No, I think God of War.
I know they were
movie's
talking
on
about
Amazon.
They
Mass
have-
Effect.
Now they have God of War,
Mass
they
Effect.
have Mass Effect, and Netflix has Horizon. So we
And
could
there's-
probably
I
write
mean,
off.
there's
We could
also
probably
all
write
the-
off Horizon.
Yeah, I don't want to watch a Horizon thing.
There's also a bunch of Ubisoft properties that have been announced in various animated television and film forms. So I mean,
I'll say it again. That Blood Dragon anime
yeah,
is
Laserhawks or
good.
whatever.
It is
Yeah.
good as hell.
Yeah,
But like that has not had the same sort of effect that this has, because maybe that's more of a mishmash. That's kind of all just Ubisoft in general as a soup. So like
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would know where to go if they watched that and liked it.
sure. Yeah, it's also we're kind of officially at a point now to where between Mario, The Last of Us, Fallout, that the Captain Laserhawk, Arcane, Cyberpunk, to where if you're a bad video game adaptation, that is now standing out. I feel like the it feels like the quality bar has just raised, and like you got to bring your A game. And if you're just kind of a nothing burger, like Halo, at least season 1 was, it sounds like season 2 was a little bit better, but like that's just not. This is not how you're going to stand out.
Season 2 still didn't get the people going. Like,
Yeah,
even though Nick said it was better, like it still didn't.
It had very high viewership, but watching Fallout in the respect that Fallout has gotten, and then thinking back to Halo Season 2, it's making me dislike it more and more. So I'm like, what?
I mean, because I think you're comparing Halo Season 2 to Halo Season 1, which was a big leap.
Yes, it was
Still not a great show.
And then you see Fallout, you're like,
oh, this is
you
actually
fucked
really
this up
good.
so bad. It's frustrating.
It's also funny to think that this is, an Xbox thing.
It's a big victory for that.
But to be fair, that this was more a Bethesda project than it was Xbox.
Oh, no. I know this was in development long before that thing went through, but like this is,
they get the benefits.
The rewards.
Yeah, but you brought up the other shows that Amazon's working on. Like Fallout to me is like it matters who you put behind the thing, right? Like the people, Craig Mazin on The Last of Us, and Jonathan Nolan on Fallout. Like these are guys that are really, really good at what they do.
Like it's supposed to be the Expanse team doing Mass Effect, right?
We don't.
Or is that just the assumption?
That was the assumption. Yeah, there's nothing.
It does make sense.
Yeah, I would love to see them do something
Dan
else.
Harmon is co-writing a
Yeah,
movie with Heather Campbell.
Co-writing what?
Yeah,
a One Punch Man movie. One Punch Man's an anime,
a live action movie.
One Big Punch,
written by Dan Harmon
from Community and Rick and Morty.
As ridiculous as that sounds, it's actually kind of perfect. Because it's all like the One Punch Man is not a shonen to be taken seriously. It is all about the meta narrative of what that genre is.
Yeah,
that is all that Dan plays in is just meta storytelling.
Absolutely. And his co-writer, Heather Ann Campbell, who's been one of his writers on Rick and Morty for a while. She was a former video game critic. I think she wrote for Game Informer back in the day. But she hosts a pair of podcasts, How Did This Get Played? And How Did This Get Animated? And there's like the How Did This Get Made, which was a movie podcast. And then so they have a video game offshoot, and then they have this anime offshoot. And that's the podcast I just listened to. They did, she's like the biggest Evangelion fan. She's watched Evangelion like every year of her life.
Is she okay? Like, did that do anything to her?
She was talking about how like, oh, this was my therapy when I was 16 years old, and I realized this isn't healthy at all. But that was the podcast I was just listening to as I was rewatching Ava, which was amazing to then see that story and be like, oh shit, she's co-writing One Punch Man. Like on the Ava podcast from a few years ago, she was talking about how much she loved One Punch Man. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Well, what I will say about like shows like Fallout and Last of Us and all that is like, people that actually respect the property they're working on don't try to change it for their own purposes. It's gonna set a bar to hit now, like Marty said. Between these shows, and even the Mario movie, like I think the Mario movie did really well. Sonic has done very well. Like these are shows and movies that respect what they're working on. Yeah, and so like
Detective Pikachu,
the Witcher, Halo. All these. Well, I guess
Uncharted movie.
Yeah, the Uncharted movie, like these things are all trying to be.
It was okay.
Uncharted movie was like in the middle of those two things.
No, you want to know what one adaptation is in the middle? Monster Hunter. That is the fucking center. That is at 0 on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis, and 0 on the
I just don't
z-axis.
feel like you can write a good story in a Monster Hunter movie.
I don't know, just hunt the monsters.
Yeah,
That's what they did.
You know, which is why it was okay, right?
Yeah.
Then we got to the end.
They
I was
tried
like,
to
why
do
weren't you
storytelling. That was
Telecos
the
here whole
problem.
time?
It's
It should have just been 100% fighting monsters.
yeah, that movie's bad, but it's like it's a mid bad.
You just reminded me the latest Tomb Raider movie actually did a lot of that same like video game callback shit that we're praising in Fallout now.
Yeah.
But like I guess because that world isn't as tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
it didn't like hit as much. Like
it works in Fallout because it's ridiculous. Fallout's just absolutely ridiculous.
Who was that? Was
Did
that
anyone
a
else hear
demon?
that?
Was
No,
that
what
a
was
demon?
that?
Why were Casey and I the only ones scared?
I didn't hear anything. Must have
You
been
didn't
me.
hear
hear it?
anything?
You must have been the demon.
Oh wow.
Oh, that was terrifying.
Okay, chat heard it.
Okay,
I
good.
heard it too. I got scared.
Great. Yeah, we
Yeah,
all got
that
scared.
shook me
That
up.
had to be a Nick thing if you didn't hear it then. You're fine. I think it was just a loose cable.
There a ghost in my room.
I don't. It sounded like a
There's a
literal
demon
Pazuzu.
behind.
It sounded like a genuine Pazuzu. But yeah, it'll be like this train's not slowing down. We got Silent Hill 2 movie coming out. We got the Borderlands movie coming out this year, which
Like that trailer was not bad. That Borderlands movie trailer looked.
The train
Fine.
might not be slowing down, but the train might crash real hard, real quick here.
yeah,
We'll definitely
Let's
get.
be honest,
Yeah,
let's be honest here.
we'll get oversaturated as we always do. Whenever Hollywood or big corporations get wind of like something that can make a lot of
I don't
money,
care
then
if it's
they
oversaturated. I just
overdo
care if
it.
it's good.
well, it'll be good until it's not. That's
That's
the
what I
thing.
mean. It might
Remember
be
the
real
MCU?
bad right away.
Like
Around
that Jerry
the MCU was-
Seinfeld Pop-Tart movie, probably not going to be good. It's probably going to be bad.
Yeah, it'll. And yeah, I'm curious to see how some of those. But I mean, we also have The Last of Us Season 2 in production, which I'm sure is going to be great. Even though, as I replayed the game over the past week or two, I'm just very curious how they're going to break that up, how they're going to handle that story. If they're going to tell it in the same fractured way, I think you kind of have to. I don't think
Probably
you
get
can
like
just
2 more
traditionalize
seasons.
it.
Like you
I
get, like,
think
2
you split it
seasons
into
out
2
of
seasons.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a beefy enough game with enough characters and enough stuff going on. But before I move on, a handful of super chats came in. August with a $10 dono. Thank you so much, August. Wizards of the Coast's president just resigned. Are you guys surprised? Do you play Magic the Gathering? Nick, you're a big Magic the Gathering fan.
No, that's Amy and Jesse
I'm
Galina.
Kidding. I don't think any of us play Magic the Gathering, but Wizards of the Coast are also the owners of
Dungeons
D&D.
and Dragons. Yeah,
Which-
and I'm
which
not. I
is-
mean, I'm not surprised he's got fired. Their PR has been in the shitter for 2 years.
Which is funny because it just seems like D&D is more popular than ever between your Critical Roles, your D&D movie, Baldur's Gate last year.
Nigh.
Venture is nigh. Season 1 and 2 remasters coming soon.
Soonish.
Soon is relative. If you look at the expanse of humanity, soon as anything. That being said, I mean, Larian was also like, we're not doing this again. So now they have this huge success with Baldur's Gate 3 and I need to find a suitor for what I assume is a Baldur's Gate 4, which is probably already in pre-production.
You know how
From
out
someone?
of touch Wizards of the Coast is Larian says we don't want to do Baldur's Gate 4. And the news story I see this week is Wizards of the Coast wants to continue doing Baldur's Gate with a new developer. I'm like, do you not realize what you had? Like, do you not realize like Larian is the reason that's good?
No,
No, they don't.
they don't
I mean,
at
they're
all.
just
The license,
I
the
guarantee they're
license, the
fast tracking
license.
for with another developer. They want to strike while that iron's hot, which that's never going to work well. So, yeah, I personally don't know enough. I know she came from Xbox. She was at Xbox, and then she became president of Wizards of the Coast as well as Hasbro Gaming. Because I think there was like there was going to be a big push to build out that like actual video gaming brand, which I don't think really happened. But yeah,
Were they the ones behind that that other D&D game, like the action third person one?
Yeah, like Jesse played that a few years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Probably.
Dark Alliance.
Yes,
They
Dark
have
Alliance.
not. Baldur's Gate 3 was like the first Wizards of the Coast funded game that was like really, really good.
Actually, genuinely.
The rest have either been canceled or we're still waiting on. Like the only other one we're waiting on is Archetype Entertainment, which is making the Exodus game, that sci-fi Mass Effect looking game.
Right.
Oh, they're owned by Hasbro Gaming /
Yep.
Wizards of the Coast. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's a Wizard of the Coast sci-fi studio, basically.
Well, there you go. Thank you, August. King of the Fallen, welcome to Tip Jar. Paul with a $2 dono. Thank you, Paul. And then Onyxia with a $5 dono. Don't forget about Sonic. That's been phenomenal as well. Plus, we just found out who's supposed to be Shadow. Can't wait. Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. Keanu Reeves cast a Shadow. I believe
Also,
the
that
Knuckles series is
the
coming
Knuckles
soon.
series.
Are you excited for that, Nick?
No, I haven't watched any of the Sonic stuff.
Do you like echidnas?
Do I what?
Knuckles is an
Echidnas.
echidna.
Yeah, Knuckles is an echidna.
Sonic is a hedgehog.
I thought
Knuckles
you
is
were
a
trying to
echidna.
lead me into a D's nuts joke for some reason.
No, why? We're adults. Why would we do
We're
that?
adults.
No, you're
Just
not.
talking about the
No,
species
you're
of Knuckles
not.
the echidna.
No, you're not.
Different flavors of adults. Shout out to Knuckles.
Shout out to echidnas.
Shout out to echidnas, those little dudes. I'm not even sure if they're real because I've never heard of echidnas not associated with Knuckles.
It's a real. Eric is trying to turn the one on screen red right now.
Looks like you put like one red shirt in with a bunch of whites, and like all your white socks are now like kind of weird off pink. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, Eric. Genuine art. Do you guys want to go into our main topic, into our big expose?
Sure, let's do it.
What goes into being a critic? Nick?
A lot of Mountain Dew and mayonnaise.
God damn it. Mayonnaise?
I knew that would get I knew that would get a reaction out of you. That's why I
I'm
said
not listening to any critic with that inside them. Because they're already making bad decisions.
No, but I suggested this topic for the episode today because obviously over the last few weeks we've had quite a few big releases. Helldivers 2 being one of them, the other being Dragon's Dogma 2, lots of twos, and then Unicorn Overlord, which is the most recent one. My God, what the fuck is that, Eric? Why is that a thing?
You power through it.
Why is it green?
Don't look at the corner. Mountain
Is it
Dew,
avocado
Mountain Dew
mayonnaise? Oh,
you gotta power through.
I can't. That's distracting. But yeah, so obviously one of the big things that's been going on in Second Wind, which I put Helldivers 2 in the title in the thumbnail art, which pissed somebody off earlier that we did. Is Helldivers 2 is like one of those games where right now the community is so big and fur over it that you have to love the game. You have to know everything you're talking about the game. Or if you don't love it, you just like it, as in the case of Frost, and even give it this slight amount of criticism. It's like, man, you hate the game, and I've had to moderate so many nasty comments over the last week, and it's not like the first time that's happened. It's Helldivers 2 this week, but before it's whatever the big game of the moment is, right, where everybody's really hyped about it, and any amount of criticism towards it is like stabbing their grandmother, basically. And like this topic too isn't this topic isn't about like shitting on the audience or anything like that. It's just something that like you kind of deal with as a games critic, where you're like trying to convey your thoughts on a game in the best way that you can. And like for a lot of games, like it's not just games that people love too. It's like if the prevailing opinion is that people hate the game, you have to hate it too. Last of Us Part 2. It's just kind of like one of those. I find it really hard to be a games critic and kind of like not get cynical about that sometimes, where I feel like, man, I hate this game, but everybody else loves it, and and as soon as I say that I don't really like it, you get labeled as a contrarian. Or if you do love a game that everybody hates, you're also a contrarian. It's just one of those. It's fun. It's fun.
There's what you're speaking about, like that balancing act of essentially like staying true to like your opinion, because like it is very easy, surprisingly easy, for even like the best of critics to have their opinions swayed. Like this is part of the reason why humans will go out and seek reviews. Like they want to know what other people think to help them, shape and wrap their head around what they think. And like as a critic, it's good to try and be as agnostic and stay away from that as possible. But like oftentimes, like you're not immune. Like you're also a human being. So like sometimes you'll play a thing and then you'll have that little niggling feeling in the back of your head that says, "Hey, am I right in what I'm feeling, or like is there something in this that I'm missing? Is somebody else seeing something that I'm not seeing?" Like that's always kind of a constant worry. And then like when you do a review, kind of in your silo, and then you're like the outlier, and everyone else is saying one thing, you're saying the opposite thing.
Like, man,
that becomes
got it.
that becomes overwhelming in terms of like, oh, I missed something. Like maybe I don't know what I'm doing, and like that's a real worry all the time.
Yeah, that's I find that one of the most frustrating things about being a critic is like, if I don't like a game that everybody else likes, I'm like, did I just not get it? And then
because sometimes that can be true.
Sometimes absolutely can be true. Yeah, but like in the case of like Frost and Helldivers 2, like it's been funny to watch people get really mad at him about it, is because like he enjoys the game. You've been on stream with me. He enjoys playing that game, and like his take on the game was like, I like it. It's just not anything that I find really special.
Yeah, I agree with him. Like I also enjoy playing the game, but it's like it's because I like playing games with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I personally love Helldivers 2. Like I play it nightly with my friends and everything. Also, like, but for me, like much like Frost and his critique of the game, I think it's one of those games like Left 4 Dead 2 or any of these Deep Rock Galactic, whatever. I think it really depends on who you're playing it with to have fun.
And you could argue that that's not like that's not great.
That means you have good friends. It doesn't mean the game's good.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the game is very good. I love the game. But I also know I would not want to continue playing it if I was just playing it on my own all the time.
Yeah.
Like
there's like a sense of I don't even want to say tribalism, but like as games progress as a medium and people become more and more entrenched in talking about them, and I mean people as in we who cover them, y'all who watch these videos and listen to the pod and everything, that it makes sense that when there's something we really like and we really want to champion it, that you become like somewhat defensive of it. Logically, it doesn't make sense because this is a thing a corporation made to make money. And like we don't get any money off that, you don't get any money off that. But it makes sense, and it's like it makes sense up until a line, and there's another line where we talk about this all the time when the art you like becomes your identity, and that is when it's like, oh, you didn't like this, and so this is a personal affront to me.
Yeah, like you saying that there's something wrong with this essentially means there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
That's what the conversation becomes, and like you never want to be there.
It's so much. You live such a healthier life when you just realize that is like genuinely silly. Like there was a couple folks in the Yahtzee and I streamed a few hours ago, and his fully Ramblematic on Final Fantasy VII came out, and he made fun of the game because he makes fun of every game, and people were like, was it like streaming next to him? Are you guys gonna fight about Final Fantasy? I was like, I could not give a shit what anyone else thinks about that game. Like deeply. I finish a game and I'm like, this meant something to me personally. Yeah. And then we make our videos and we do our podcast and everything. And we express that. And then you take that and you sort of are like, okay, is this, as I filter it through my what I know about this person and what I know about their taste, will this align with me or will it not? And I don't know. It feels like anything more than that. Just it feels silly to me.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a thing with games criticism where like people, for some reason, a lot of people go to reviews looking to have their opinion that they've already formed on the game affirmed by a critic that they don't even know.
Yeah,
I've always found that fun.
Like they collect them like points to be like, this means I'm right once, this means I'm right twice, this means I'm right 3 times. Like, yeah.
There's also if someone likes a game that you like, no matter, they could write a dog shit review and you'd still be like, great review, man. Great review, man. if someone writes a beautiful critique of a game you like and they did not like it, and it's like, what the fuck? You just didn't get it. You just didn't get. Case you just didn't get Mega Man Network Collection. Sorry.
To even get like more inside baseball on this, like even the act of like people get mad about clickbait titles all the time, right?
Mm.
And like as an editor in chief, I'm of course baiting you to click on a thing. It's a title. You're supposed to be clickbaited. That's the whole fucking point of it.
Yeah, it's
And so like like if I just write a title, Helldivers 2 review, and like it's different. It's different if like it's a critic like Yahtzee. We can literally just put the game title in the thing and fully hermetic, and you know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
The average writer is not Yahtzee, and so you have to make a catchy title, an interesting title for people to click on it. And as long as it matches the tone and feel of the review, it's not clickbait. And you were baited into watching something that actually interested you. Clickbait is when we say, "Oh my god, this is the most amazing thing ever," and it's a piece of cardboard.
Yeah,
that's clickbait. So like,
what if it was Nintendo Labo?
Fuck, that is a cardboard. Well, it's not the most amazing thing ever. This is the most mid thing ever. But anyways, like, but getting into like the inside baseball part of it, like I don't think people realize, like those of you watching, how hard it is to come up with a title. Titles are fucking hard. You go write a blog post, try to get us to read it, and you need to write a title that's gonna catch our attention and make us come click on your thing. And if you make a boring title, I ain't clicking on it.
We should title everything "blank is perfect." ... Or is it?
Or is it? That way we can
put a little mystery
wrong.
in there. People are like, "I'm gonna know, is it perfect or not?"
No,
and the answer is probably not.
Yeah, we can't be wrong if we do that.
No,
the
exactly.
answer is decide for yourself.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? I tried to pull it up because I didn't have notes of this. There's that famous tech critic, and he reviewed some piece of shit.
Marcus Brownlee. Yes. He was reviewing that AI pin thing, Humane.
Yeah. And this was this thing that had a crazy amount of like VC funded into it, and like an insane amount of money, and it's been in development forever, and like it was being hyped up as this device that was going to revolutionize the technology world. And then his review was something like, "This is the worst product I've ever reviewed," and he has the biggest reach. And there are some people in like tech and VC who are like, "How could you do this? You've single-handedly destroyed this product. Like, how could you do that?" And everyone else is like, "He's a critic. It's not his job to like, if you made something that's shit, like his job is literally to be honest."
Yeah, I read an Aftermath article kind of diving into that. Like Brownlee had to release a video afterwards because of how much pushback he was getting after that review, where he had to, explain to people like, my job as a critic is not to be beholden to the people who are making the product, like it's to the people who are watching the video. Like I'm giving you my honest opinion and review of the product. And like they're like, because the problem with that is the idea of that tech being good in the future is kind of what's fueling all the venture capital behind it. So if like this big influencer basically telling people like this product is garbage, then they can't sell people on the idea of like, well, it'll get there. And that's what they were saying, like, hey, why not be optimistic about where it could be? And it's like, no, that's not my job.
This work. That's
that is not my job.
Yeah. Absolutely asinine. But yeah, it was interesting of like, there was a sort of larger discussion of like, what is the role of a critic. And so that's always interesting to when it always feeds back into games and everything. And it is true, a lot of people just, I guess, I don't know. There's two types of people. I think there's people who go to review because they want to have their own opinions validated and reinforced. They want to be like, I like this game and it's good, right? And there's other people who go to reviews because they genuinely want to know if a thing is good or not. And then I think there's other people who go into reviews because they just want good criticism. And maybe that third part is the smallest audience. But like, I love reading Darren's things because I think Darren is a great writer who like thinks about things and researches things in like amazing ways that I don't. Do I always agree with him? Absolutely not. But I love reading.
I love looking at Darren videos and reading the stuff he writes. He's super insightful.
I think the majority of the audience is in that realm of they want to actually hear what a critic has to say because they respect the critic. I think they just don't comment.
Yeah, those people don't comment. That is true.
Yeah, and
I don't,
that's why
I don't comment
that's
on
why
Jared's thing.
yeah, that's why we moderate so heavily, is because I want to draw out the people that don't normally comment and actually have interesting things to say over, oh, Frost, you hate Helldivers 2, you're a piece of shit.
Frost is in the chat. And
I
you
know
just
he
called him
is.
a piece of shit.
I know.
Frost,
I
I
love
think
you,
you're great.
Frost.
I think you're great. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's the same thing. I saw Civil War this weekend. It's a movie that's been getting a lot of mixed reviews. Some people are like, "This is a very provocative, important film of the decade," and other people are like, "This toothless hack doesn't have the chutzpah to take a side politically." And I thought some of the I thought the movie was great. I thought the movie was excellent, and some of the reviews absolutely tearing it apart. I was fascinated by. Because I was like, this is a great argument that I just vehemently disagree with, but like you present it in a really great way. So I really respect what you did.
That is what criticism should
Yeah.
be, right? Just
Yeah.
literally just a great argument, either for or
Mm-hmm.
against whatever the thing is, right? Like that's the purpose it serves. And to be a good critic, in my opinion, you get that way by believing in kind of your rightness. if I can't find a better way to say that, but like you as an individual do kind of have to have this sort of conceitedness where you're like, no, the way I feel about this is important to the point that I'm going to tell a lot of people. So like regardless of whether those people will agree or not, like you need to let them know, and you do that as best as you can. That's all criticism is.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I think there's still, and there's always going to be a big subset of audience that is like, criticism has to be objective, and I'm like, that just doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's
like
impossible.
whether if a game runs well, you can be objective about that. You can be objective about how a game feels. Well, not even.
No,
You
Digital
can be
Foundry can be
objective-
objective in frame rate things, and
Yeah,
that
you can
kind
be
of
objective
stuff.
how a game runs well, and literally the disc size is correct to go into your PlayStation 5. But beyond that,
just stats, like that's
how
what
many
you can be
fun it
objective
is.
about.
yeah,
How many funds?
Yeah.
10 out of 10 funds.
and like obviously, like people are gonna take me saying that like, well, like how can you say Elden Ring isn't a good game? And I'm like, I think 99% of the critics would agree that Elden Ring is a good game. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's
but
not
as
like
long as that 1% can explain why they feel differently, like that is
Yeah.
absolutely valid criticism.
Yep.
Because there was that one outlying Tears of the Kingdom review when everyone was giving that game 10s and 10s and 10s and 10s that was getting all this heat. And like prior to me playing that game at all, like I also would have thought like, well, that seems like an outlier based on what everyone else is saying. But I felt very similarly after playing the game. I was like, no, yeah, the points that they're making make sense to me. Like I feel the same.
Yeah, it's funny because this even I didn't even realize kind of dovetails with our topic from Windbreaker this week, which was talking about the things we hate in our favorite games. And so it's sort of telling people that, like, listen, even if the thing is your absolute favorite thing, like, you should still be able to see the flaws in it and recognize them. And those aren't flaws that are make and break, the complaints you might have about a Zelda game or a Half-Life game or Silent Hill or whatever that we had over the weekend, or Binding of Isaac, like, doesn't dilute our enjoyment of the game, but it's being cognizant that nothing is perfect. The only game I thought of that is perfect, I think, is Journey. Well, I was like, what's wrong with Journey? I'm like, nothing. Journey's great. There's nothing wrong
not
with
enough
it.
sand.
Congrats. You guys made a perfect game.
And Anakin Skywalker there wasn't enough sand even for
It
him.
was too rough. Got everywhere. A couple super chats came in while we were chatting. Fungus Finder with a $2 dono. Mayonnaise is the best condiment, bar none. Sounds about right.
You kind of mix it with anything.
It's not the best condiment.
That's not true.
You can mix it with. I've mixed it with pesto. And that's great.
Oh, little aioli.
Yeah. I don't know what else.
I think mayo is fine. I don't like have. I'm not on one side or the other side.
No,
mayo
actually,
is the Monster Hunter, the film of condiments.
Like, if you ask me to put mayo on something, I won't do it because for whatever reason, I just think it's gross. But if you already put mayo on my sandwich and I didn't ask for it, then I'll eat it.
What?
That's the weirdest thing I'm gonna say this week.
Sandwiches need mayo, in my opinion. Like it's good in a sandwich. Outside of that, get it out of my face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, why? Like, sour cream. Sour cream is really good, but why the fuck is it called sour cream? Nobody wants to eat something that says sour cream.
and nor should they.
But if you put it in my taco, it's good.
What
Not to me.
food? What food has the best tasting name?
Orange.
I don't know whether that's a good answer or a bad answer because I don't even understand my own question.
Ice cream.
If sour cream is gross, like what is a good?
Yeah, what's a good name for a thing that also tastes good?
Nashville hot chicken. Nashville, great city, hot, awesome temperature to eat food at, and chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Lemon pepper.
Ooh, lemon pepper. Those
I
are two
think-
things that you don't think would go together, but do.
Yeah. I think saying them together is as good as eating.
Yeah.
eating them.
George Lucas, hot dog does not sound good. Hot dog is a bad sounding one because that's just like a warm dog.
You're eating
Passion fruit. Yeah. Now we're getting there. Passion fruit. That's a good one. Montequila with a 5-pound dono. Thank you so much. Did you see the BAFTA Game Awards last week? It was pretty good. You should stream it next year if you want to, of course. Was it at night? No. It was.
I thought the BAFTAs were a while ago. It was last week.
Yeah, it was just the other week.
That's a while ago.
How is there? How are we talking? How is
Are you gonna finish that sentence over there?
No, I
How's
know
that?
exactly what I want to say, but I keep starting with how's Baldur's Gate 3. How's it still getting awards? What? How are we not done talking about that game yet?
This is so damn good.
No, I'm fine with how good it is. It is.
You dumb critic.
We are almost at May in the year of our Lord 2024. That game came out a year ago. We're done talking about it. Like I'm done talking about Oppenheimer.
Because
and Barbie.
most
None of that
award
new shit.
shows, most award shows that aren't just marketing shows actually do their awards when the year is done.
We're halfway through April.
Yeah, the year
That's too
been
late.
done though.
Listen.
People
totally
need time
on.
to critically evaluate those games over months and decide what the best game is, and
If
let
you
it
haven't
sit,
given out your
let it
awards by
sit
January
and
31st,
digest.
you're too fucking late. Are there 31 days in January? What's the
Yeah.
knuckle thing? Okay, good. Shout out to January. And Eric, thank you so much for the dono. Check our Patreon in bio, and then it was linked to our Patreon. Eric, what are you doing?
Is that a reference to something?
Yeah,
it's
check
the
the
pussy in bio. God
You
damn
get that
it, we
pussy
both
in
said
bio?
it. Jinx.
You can't jinx me with pussy in bio. Get out of town. I'm immune to that. I'm rubber, you're glue. Pussy bounces off me.
Some sour cream. Mayonnaise.
So did we solve it? Did we solve? Is everyone gonna be nice?
I want to hear, Casey. What do you find the most challenging thing about being a games critic?
I don't know. I don't know. You call me off guard with that.
Casey's not games critic.
You call me off guard. The most challenging. This is me stalling for time. The most challenging thing about being a games critic, huh?
You can't just keep repeating the question like Marty was with Hausa.
No, I wasn't
not- it's
repeating
not
the
a way
question.
of-
I just kept buffering at the beginning of my answer.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the reason I do this is because I love doing it. So like, not to say that it's like the easiest whatever job in the world, but like I just like doing it. So if anything turns to a challenge, I guess the fact that it's because I'm doing this because I like it. It's not a thank. Like people don't thank you for this job. I know we have like people in our chat who like are fans of the work we do and stuff.
I would say all the Patreon people. Thank
Yeah,
you
exactly,
for doing our
exactly.
job.
But not in a way where like they should be saying like I put a video and I was like, Casey, thank you for your hard work and service.
Thank you.
What I mean is like, yes, I'm doing this and like it's superfluous in that way. Like I oftentimes feel like, and this is a me thing, like am I doing in life the thing that is the most helpful to the rest of humanity?
Oh,
Yes.
no, you're not. You are not.
Right. Yeah. And being a games critic is a very selfish need in my mind. Like I do this because I love to do it, and it's not helping the world. And I feel a little guilty about that.
That being said, how many times have you heard someone on a stream who's like, "Man, I was having a really shitty week or a bad day at
Yeah,
work"?
and that
or,
yeah,
like,
that sort of stuff.
something. Yeah.
Like people say that every now and then, and that means the world to me, because like
Yeah.
that definitely takes down that box of like, maybe I should quit doing this and just become a politician.
I mean, I remember when
I feel like he'd be more useful as a games critic than a politician.
I don't know. Me as a politician could be real wild.
That'd be good. That'd be good. You and Bernie.
Like I got some plans.
No, you as a politician would get things done. Just politicians in general are less useful than game critics to me.
No, yeah, which is why I feel, and because that's how my brain works. Like, because they are so useless, and because they affect so much, it's like, well, shit. Now I gotta go fucking get in there and fix this. Like, if no one else is gonna do anything about this, I guess I'll go do it. Like that's the way I operate. But I'd rather just be talking about video games.
Yeah, same.
Wordy, what's your most challenge?
It's just easy. I'm just crushing tape. No, I don't know. It's
Working with me.
No, you're fine. I'm antagonistic to you on camera, but I feel like when we're not on camera, we work fine together. I don't know. Like it's good. I'm gonna give the dumb answer, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm not shoveling coal. Like it's not that hard of a job. I've worked way harder jobs.
Would you like to moderate the comments sections? Then you can shovel some coal.
No, because I don't care what anyone says. I would just turn the comments off. I would just say we're done with comments. I don't know. This is a one-way street. You don't get to tell me anything. No, I think it's also just partly. I mean, maybe things like this help, but like, there's still the like handful of people who are like, you just play games for a living. I'm like, that is like 1% of what we do. Like, there's so much like boring but important work that goes on behind the scenes of keeping the lights on of all this stuff. So much clerical work and management work and work in spreadsheets and communication via people across Slack and Discord and Trello and shit like that. And it's just to where, yeah, like the forward facing stuff we do seems incredibly fun and is really fun, doing these shows and streams and the final products of videos and stuff. But everything else kind of outside of that is a job.
Fun job.
Yep.
For me, it's Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. It's not actually Twitter. No,
I was like, oh yeah, I have a solution for that. Stop.
No, I think for me, like, it's just especially in games criticism, it's the act of like games like Helldivers or games like Battlefield or whatever, critiquing the game and also having to be mindful of the business antics behind those games, which comes into play when you're critiquing it, and whether like, Helldivers 2, like right now, like, because that's where like a lot of the fervor or Frost cold take on Helldivers 2 is coming from, is because people really love the game because they feel it treats them fairly with its monetization systems. That's totally fine, right? But when we talk about other games and we talk about their monetization systems, it's like, no, that you can't, microtransactions are bad. This is bad. This is bad. It's a slippery slope to this and that. And it's like, well, that's what kind of Frost is talking about with Helldivers 2, right? Like, you can't be okay with this monetization system just because you feel it's fair to you, but then go around and say no game should ever have MTX, no game should do this, no game should do that. It's like and that's where, and I'm not making a judgment on the people that are okay with it or whatnot. I just find that as a critic is like, okay, I like the monetization system in Helldivers 2. I didn't like it in this game. And so there can be people on both sides going like, so you're okay with microtransactions, you shill? Or if you're not okay with it, you're like, well, this game's treating me fairly, you shill. So
it's that lack of nuance.
Yeah, I feel like the lack of nuance and like really any criticism, right? Because like even when we were talking about Rings of Power or The Last of Us Part 2 or whatever, like there are parts of Rings of Power I liked, but if I liked it, they're like, you like this show and it's terrible and you're awful, blah blah blah. Last of Us Part 2, same thing. So I just find that's why I like to talk about like the business side of media a lot, because I feel like it adds nuance to that discussion that people don't think about, like as a critic of like, you can't please everybody. You will never please everybody as a critic, so you can't even try. And then sometimes like you try to, and that wave of people that don't want to be pleased outweigh people that are pleased with you.
Well, is that a function of criticism, to please people? Because I would argue that
no. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying like you may really like Helldivers 2, and your criticism is focused on that, and you are okay with the monetization system, right, in this game. also that's pleasing to people that really enjoy the game and agree with you.
Mhm.
People that have a hardline no stance on microtransactions will be displeased with you because you okayed this one, but didn't say the same thing about other monetization systems, right? So there's just like a tightrope of like what's acceptable in criticism and what's not to the audience, not you personally.
It's also
Sure.
Frost brought this up in a recent cold take, I believe, of everyone wants to feel like they're smart and no one's getting one over on this guy. Like, I'm a savvy consumer and I can spot when I'm a mark.
Mhm.
And everyone likes to think they're like
Yeah.
that 100% of the time. But then something comes along that you really like, and you're like, "Oh no, I'm not a mark here because this
Marvel
thing's really
Snap.
good. This thing's really good. You just know my money is actually it's all these amiibo. This is actually an investment. This is where I
that
can either
tiny
open a 401k.
non-functional Xbox shaped fridge over there. Yeah, that was
This is a smart
great
investment.
investment.
Yeah, just $15 a month to Pokemon Snap or to fucking Marvel Snap. Everything's fine. Everyone has those, and I feel like as long as you're cognizant of that, it is fine and healthy. But I just think that there's kind of I don't know, maybe a lack of self-awareness or a lack of willingness to be not even self-deprecating, but just like, I don't know, see your own flaws and see like that humans are illogical and that we can feel
Or-
one way about something 99 of 100 times, but then feel differently the 99th time. And as long as you're kind of aware and cognizant of that, I think it's perfectly healthy. But it's when you kind of refuse to see that you get a lot of these problems.
And also 99.9% of people will just spend their money on what they feel like they want to spend their money on in the end, no matter what they say online.
But your dad, you can buy whatever you want.
Because I can't stand Marvel Snap. I've probably put not $10,000. I've probably put about $100 into season passes on that game, and I've never done that for any other game.
You've
Jeez.
put way more than $100 because I feel like I put $100 and I haven't played that shit for
It's
a
on
year.
it's on like season 14. I've probably paid for 10 out of 14 seasons.
What the fuck? Where did I put all that money? Oh no! What
Did
was
you
I
buy
buying?
did you buy fake cards? Because that's what
Yeah.
I did.
I
But,
wanted
like,
my Mr. Fantastic to be
You
a
can buy
hollow.
fake Marvel Snap cards.
Well, they're variants of the cards that they charge an exorbitant amount of money
I mean,
for.
they're no more fake than every other card in the game.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you had a
Like,
bootleg card on your
crazy
phone.
bootleg
I'm
Marvel
like,
stuff.
how'd they do that?
Yeah, it's
Like, who asked
Wolverine.
him?
Yeah, but every time I do buy the season pass of Marvel Snap, I immediately like feel a sense of shame.
Yeah,
I feel like that scene out of Game of Thrones with the bells, and I'll be like sitting on the toilet by the season pass. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
yeah.
I already had my pants down. I shouldn't have done this.
Shame. Did you know the Shame Bell lady was the owner of the team in Ted Lasso, Hannah Waddingham?
I learned that
Oh.
after the fact.
Yeah, she suffered a cruel fate. I mean, I guess she was mean, but she was mean, but her fate was not great. Also, Tom, I'm glad you liked Wolverine.
Wolverine is very funny.
But yeah, like Helldivers 2 specifically.
Oh, I'm gonna add to this list right now.
Helldivers 2 is specifically like really funny to me because you can earn the currency in game to unlock the premium passes.
Mhm.
And as much as I love Helldivers 2, I'm actually very annoyed that they lock weapons behind those premium passes.
Sure.
So and I'm like, wait a second, they're literally locking game mechanics behind a premium pass. I thought that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
Now it's okay because it's not a lot of
Because
money.
we like the game. We like the game.
Because
This
we
is
like the
fine.
game.
This is a different thing. This
Yeah.
is different. This is the same as the other games. This one's fine.
I
Like
Sure.
Jared, Helldivers is cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And like, oh man, I'm like, and I've already fallen prey to it. Like, I really like the game. I put a couple dollars in to get that premium pass faster, so I can unlock those energy guns that take out those dirty automatons.
You can't. I feel like you can't call them that. Why do you call them
Right,
dirty?
they're because they're dirty robots.
Why do you keep calling them dirty?
In the Robo Revolution, just know that I was not on Nick's side of this.
Yeah,
argument.
we were not. To any of our AI, to the smart aliens from Three Body Problem who are watching us right now, we're on your side. So you can take
Yeah,
take Nick
upload
out.
me to the simulation. I'm fine with it.
Fucking put me in that cool game. I'll solve your problem. You got too many sons. That's your problem. You
Just
didn't have
Casey,
3
if you
sons.
like
Just have
to-
one of them.
If you like the tank mission in Arkham Knight, Suicide Squad is for you, man. Get in there. They got tank missions. You can fly the damn tank.
I
Suicide
still want
Squad?
to.
Fine,
I still want to try Suicide Squad.
No, you
I'm
What are
still.
you doing?
I'm
No, you
still
don't.
curious about it.
Fucking
No.
finish Hades.
No, you don't.
Dude,
Don't do it.
Nick, don't play any
I
games.
gotta
Finish
finish
102.
Unicorn Overlord first.
You gotta finish the unicorns. There's too many overlords.
Well, in games that we have played this week, it was not Portal 2 for me.
You should have played Portal 2. You
Sadness.
chump.
You told me to
Our
play it on my
Dodger-
break.
No, Whipper. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm excited. Dower Dodger been a member for 5 months in the Green Game, a Game Critics Award for people in the industry. Omar,
Yeah, just Omar.
I'd give. We could call them the Omars. For hardworking, great folks who don't get enough respect. The Omars.
Mm.
And then Wood for Brains with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Wood for Brains. I'm a neuroscientist finding treatments for Alzheimer's, and the Second Wind story has been really inspiring for my lab. You help us spend our fun time wisely.
Hey.
Look at that. So you can
Wow.
say, we're curing Alzheimer's. I mean, you can say
Look.
that.
Yeah.
That is
No.
some stolen valor.
No, that is absolutely so about. No, the same way that I would when I first moved to San Francisco, I worked at a coffee shop and I had to work at 5 a.m, so I had to get up at 4 a.m. and take the train from Oakland to San Francisco. I'd just be tired of shit and angry, and I'd listen to podcasts on the way to work, and I'd listen to like video game podcasts, and they'd make me happy, and I'd get to work and I'd be happy, and then I'd serve coffee to like a bunch of fucking rich people, and I hated it. But you know what the secret was? Give everyone decaf. If someone's being an asshole, you get decaf. You can't do the opposite. If they order decaf, you can't give them caffeine because they might die.
Yeah, that might be rough.
But you can give anyone decaf if they're being a dick. That's the secret.
But hey, buddy, calm the fuck down. I got something
Yeah.
for you.
You know what you're getting? Well, you're getting the big D. The D was
Oh,
decaf
no.
in that scenario. What have we been playing and watching? Nick, what have you been playing and watching? We're gonna talk about Fallout.
I actually, see, this is why I don't write things down in your doc, because then I forget what I wrote down and I start thinking.
First off, it's our doc. Second off, the reason it's here is so you don't forget it. You look at the doc.
Yeah.
well, we already
You have
talked about
Manor
Fallout.
Lords here. Do you want to talk about Manor Lords?
Yeah, I
guess?
do. Whatever. I was gonna say we already talked about Fallout, so I don't need to go over that again. We
And
already talked
Helldivers.
about Helldivers 2, so I don't need to go over that either. But yes, I have been playing Manor Lords, which comes out in early access next week, I believe. By the way, they sent me a press box, and in that box was like a
Cape.
literal replica of a medieval helmet, like full metal, like pointy nose helmet.
The size of it for a human, or is it for a cat? Like
No,
helmet?
it's the size of a human. And
Go-
I put it on my head and it cut my ear. It hurt.
Oh dang.
It's sharp. It's sharp as shit. Those things like I don't know why you'd wear that thing. Also, like
For protection.
the eye slit, you can't see anything. The eye slit is like this small.
Yeah, that's why everyone died when they were like
What-
28.
What are you looking for, Nick? Swords?
Yeah. I'm gonna poke my eyes out.
Like it's an anti-sword poking mechanic.
I'll
It's
bring
called pocket tournament.
I'll go get the helmet when Marty and Casey go into their topic. But yeah, so Manor Lords is an upcoming literally a city builder game, but it's also got RTS elements into it. So you essentially build up a town from nothing, kind of like in games like Banishers and all that. And it's quite in-depth systems where you need to make sure people are fed, bring new people to the town, generate resources. But then it's got like this whole diplomatic thing where basically you want to build your town up enough to get to a point where you can go and take over other lords' territories. And so like you can have big medieval battles and everything. And it's still relatively simplistic. There's a lot to do in early access. So like I'd actually, like, if you're interested in the game, definitely check it out. It's like a really satisfying, like gridless city builder too. So I haven't played enough to like figure out how deep it goes yet, but like there's like a whole economy system and everything into it. And it's like not super easy either, because they only give you 5 families at the start, and you have to kind of like, you even have to like manage your resources as the people. So you need to go cut logs to start building buildings, but you also need to hunt, and you also need to gather berries, and you also need to make sure your supplies are in a covered shelter so that they don't get rained on and deteriorate. So there's like a lot of.
This is fun. Yeah, you having a good time doing
Yeah,
this?
I like city builders. Yeah, this is fun.
This all sounds like work.
It is work. It's a
This is
city
like Second
builder.
Life.
It's a city builder game. Yes. But the most impressive thing about the game is like it's literally been developed by one guy, and it looks way better than a lot of city builder games out there. Yeah, so I've been following this one for years. I'm really excited that it's about to release, and hopefully it's got over 2.5 million wish lists on Steam. It's like one of the most wishlisted games on Steam.
Damn.
So yeah,
these audiences for these builder games, like they are huge, but like they are a massive blind spot for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, PC gamers love them.
That explains it.
Yeah, I mean, literally, when Marty talks about PCs being like a tax machine, that's who these games are for. People like
People
using
love
these
doing their
computers,
taxes.
tax
love doing
Yes.
taxes and chopping wood and picking berries.
Yeah,
You want to be a dad in their free time and a dad in their games.
yeah.
So
like I haven't played enough yet to give it an overall critique, but out of the box, early access runs well, looks great, has a lot of depth already, and I can always like with the amount of people that are going to buy this thing, like he's going to be able to take this game really far. And it's kind of got, as I think I've talked on the podcast for a couple weeks now about trying to find a city builder that like really hooked me. Like this has already hooked me, and I've only played it for like 4 or 5 hours. It's kind of got everything I want in it. City building, the desperation of your peasants trying to stay alive kind of thing, and then also like this diplomacy aspect and RTS battles that look really good.
So I'm curious because you're not like a big survival crafter guy, right?
No.
So what is like the difference between like these early city builder games in terms of like hunting resources and managing all this sort of legwork? Because that just sounds like the same mechanic to me.
Well, first of all, I don't have to go around as a one character smacking a tree for 5 hours. And the fun of city builders to me is just kind of you literally get to see your progress on screen just kind of develop as you make decisions and make sure that things are running smoothly and all that. So like I don't know if you like management games at all, like it's that kind of feedback loop. Telling other people to do and watching the work happen like I do at Real Job.
Okay, now I understand.
Now it's all making sense. Now it's all falling in there. Demon came back, Nick. Who's this demon?
Yeah.
Demon? Oh no, I don't know.
That is.
I think you might. I think you got a loose wire.
That is a terrifying noise.
Is that a heartbeat?
That was not me. That's Eric.
That might be Eric. Eric's doing that.
Sound booping. The other game I played, which I can't remember, I think Amy reviewed it for 3MR, was or maybe Elise did, Storyteller from Annapurna Interactive. I was very interested in it based on the trailer because it made it sound like you could really tell your own story using the puzzle pieces.
Okay, I remember this game.
Yeah, very much not the case. It's very much a one or two solution puzzle game. So like I don't think it like really lived up to the concept. But it's only 4 hours long and it was fun enough. Like it's just a relaxing, easy to play puzzle game that didn't take too much brain power. Only a few puzzles that like really fooled me. So like if you like brain teasers, I guess you would probably really like Storyteller. But it did make me want to play. I haven't started it yet, but it did make me want to play Wildermyth, which is
I heard that was really good.
Yeah, tactical RPG with procedural storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about. I haven't played it yet, so I'm not going to provide my thoughts.
I believe Storyteller is on Netflix as well.
Yeah, it is.
Have Netflix.
Oh,
also, y'all know about this Delta?
What Delta?
There's an emulator.
Delta D's.
No,
That doesn't make any.
None of mine are gonna be
sense.
these. Just go get the helmet.
That
Just
doesn't even
walk
make
away,
a-
Go get the helmet, and we'll talk about Delta.
That made me angry
Delta's a
because that didn't make any fucking
It didn't
sense.
make any sense. It didn't make any sense. The joke's fine. Like if it's like if you're really gonna like work towards it, and like there's gonna be some real payoff at the end. But that one was not. I was just literally talking about Delta, which is just a fucking emulator on your phone.
It's just a word.
It's just a word. It's just
It's
a word.
just a word.
Delta is an emulator you can now download on your phone off of the App Store. It's like finally, like the big news is that it finally made its way through the iOS App Store, and you could just load fucking Super Nintendo and DS and GBA games onto it. And you can just
How's
play the
that-
emulator through the app.
And like,
I mean, you
it's an
need to
official-
load the games onto it, like via.
Okay, so the
connecting it
emulator
to-
itself is. So the emulator itself is not
Oh my god!
illegal.
Why does it look like that? What? What?
Can you
Why?
can you hear us?
Really
like that?
sharp.
Why does it look like that?
Like this is
Oh, I
like
don't have
armor
it
for
hooked
a
up yet. I don't know how
woodpecker.
to put it together.
Your dogs must be very scary. To anyone listening to the audio version of this, Nick got his Manor Lord's helmet, and let me tell you, you do kind of look. Praise the sun.
It's really
You do
hot
look
in
like
here.
Solaire. Yeah. Incredibly. That is incredibly dumb. As a fan of very dumb PR things, well done.
Great
Your
job.
whole
Yeah.
head is falling apart. Uh oh. Faceplate's coming off.
Oh no,
Uh oh.
he's gonna have to go to the
Uh-oh.
doctor to get that removed.
Uh oh. Ow. You become the fucking man in the iron mask.
Jeez.
Incredible. Wear that during the charity stream tomorrow. But yeah, Delta.
It's
Delta's
heavy.
on. Delta's on. I don't know anything else about Delta. Whatever. There's another.
Oh,
There's a new
no,
way to
no.
scale in.
I was curious. Like, is the legality of that the fact that like the ROMs are the illegal part, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, it's an emulator.
downloading shit.
Ah!
yeah, but the emulator itself is fine. It's just an emulator, guys.
That's
like,
the equivalent of like, oh, well, I'm just punching the air near your face, and if you get hit, that's your fault. Okay, you shouldn't have been punching.
I wonder if Nintendo will respond to this.
They are not going to be thrilled. They are not going to be
Because
thrilled.
Nintendo versus Apple, whew,
Oh my
I
God,
would
let them-
love to see that.
fucking Ken Watanabe, let them fight. Incredible. What have you been playing / watching, Casey?
I mentioned earlier. I thanks to your recommendation, I played Duck Paradox for Hot Monday Energy, aka Hidden Gems. It is a sort of a roguelike, like straight up like. So like you don't carry over any progression that I've seen. It's also in early access, so that might change in the future. But essentially, you play as a scientist who invents time travel, and she has a pet duck who accidentally goes into her time portal and is scattered across the multiverse. So there are infinite versions of her duck out in the multiverse.
Oh, the story is that it's the same duck? There's
Yeah,
just,
they're
like-
all the same duck. Yes. So she's basically trying to go find her duck and bring it back home. But like, I think the duck itself is sort of like splintered through time. So you have to
Sure.
keep doing this. You have to keep finding your duck and bringing it back. But also other variants of your duck are essentially being birthed when you like pull the duck from like its like spatial rift. And so they will start attacking you from different angles and stuff as you try to get it back to where you originated from. It's batshit insane because you have a little gun that can shoot and it can kill like enemy ducks, but it literally bounces off of every single surface until it hits something, and it can kill you.
Yeah.
So you basically need to be very accurate, or at the very least very skilled in dodging the shit after you kind of just let it lay free. But then like different levels end up having like extra hazards, like there are different power-ups that change like the parameters of your abilities. Like you can jump a little higher, like dash a little quicker, like you can get shields that recharge, stuff like that just help your survivability, because like it does not pull any punches. Like they'll throw so much stuff at you in these levels that it seems unfathomable that like a regular person can actually get through them. But because of all the mechanics they add, because there's also like a time slowing mechanic as well. Because of the upgrades you get and like that time slowing mechanic, like you can kind of get out of some very impossible looking scrapes. And I was having a ton of fun just like rerunning these levels, whatever. And like we made it to a boss fight that I was not able to finish before we were done. But like I've been thinking about that game ever since playing it. Like I kind of want to go back. I really want to see how much is in there, because like for this to be an early access, like the core experience is super fun.
Yeah,
You know what's crazy about that game is that game has actually been out since July 19th of 2022,
Really?
and it only has like 15 reviews on Steam.
And it just
And-
got like a month ago. It got picked up by
Midwest
announced
Games.
as the Midwest Games.
Yeah.
thing.
So like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool that they're publishing it and hopefully giving it to a bigger audience. Because yeah, it seems like really like a little indie gem that's completely gone under the radar. It has a lot of unique mechanics.
Yeah, like I've not played another roguelite like it.
Mhm.
it feels good. Like it looks fine. It its premise is very cute to me. Like your power ups are like kind of baby ducks, and like the baby ducks will be representative of like whatever thing they're giving you. Like one gives you like higher jumps, and it's a duck with just real long legs. So like it just looks just looks real dumb walking
Yeah.
behind the rest of it because his legs are just extra long. So like just that sort of like real goofy humor, but like solid gameplay moment to moment.
That's great. Yeah, check out Monday's episode of Hidden Gems for 2 full hours of that game.
Yeah, it was great.
What else have you been checking out?
I think a new episode is out today because Wednesdays is when X-Men episodes drop.
I have not watched this week's episode. Last
but-
week's was
Whew, like I was a
I'm-
fan of X-Men 97, like from the start. Like they were doing a great job. Episode 5 kicks shit into a whole new gear. Like
Yeah.
they changed the tone of that show in a way that feels like, oh my god, like
It feels like risky and like
Yeah.
daring and like, oh wow, you're gonna do this?
and not in just, without spoiling anything, not in just the most obvious way, because we see some things near the end of the episode, but even at the start, building up, like the relationships between the characters, they play at some stuff that we just haven't seen in that version of X-Men before. Like we like back in the day, like, you know, it was a kids show, like they had to deal around censors or whatever, so they might have alluded to certain situations and relationships and stuff. Like at most they'll show like characters kissing and whatever. Not saying that there's a full-on sex scene in it, there's not, but just without getting into spoilers, characters are dealing with much more adult relationship issues that I found super compelling in this show. And then you get the bombshell at the end, like the big set piece that just blew my freaking mind of like, wow, this show is here now. Like it might as well be Invincible. Like I can't wait. I can't wait.
I
to watch the
really,
next episode.
You might have just sold me on a show that I had zero interest in.
You should watch it. It will catch you.
I didn't start it until last week, and then finally I saw the feedback of last week's episode. People were like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "Okay, I kind of want to go into this now without spoiling it." And so I just binged 5 of them. I was like, "Oh, this is actually really good. Yeah, this is really good." I still think it's a little ugly, which I could get over.
No,
I also feel that way about a lot of shows. I think Avatar is a little ugly.
Which Avatar? Do you not be talking about my Avatar?
I don't want to tell you. I'm talking about your Avatar.
Not my.
Big Jim's Avatar ain't ugly.
It's
Big Jim's Avatar ain't ugly. I think it's kind of. I love Avatar. I just think it's kind of ugly. I have I have friends I love that are kind of ugly.
Man, Casey's about to turn to angry fan against critics.
No, I disagree.
I saw that Twitch. You're like, oh man, I know where you live, Marty.
I thought for a second you were doing an angry joke, but I don't think you were making that joke. The man's name is Ang.
Is an Ang Lee joke because he directed the Hulk, who is angry.
And Green.
God, that was stupid. But yeah, if you're not watching X-Men 97, if you have any interest in it, just watch it. Just start it. Like I wish they would have dropped all of this at once because I don't like waiting, especially with like I was convinced that it was going to be tame enough that I could deal with it. I just didn't want to be spoiled, which is why I jumped in. But now I'm upset because I want to see the rest of what they have to show.
Yeah.
I am all in for X-Men 97.
Yeah, it's funny for these animated shows. I'd rather have it be all at once. Whereas Fallout, I wish it was weekly. Like I wish every week we'd come back and be like, "Oh my god, last week's episode was crazy," and because it just feels like in a week no one's gonna be talking about Fallout.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I guess that's not. I don't. It's not my job. I don't care.
I still feel like Fallout. I don't know. I feel like if Fallout had released weekly, I don't know if it would have had the appeal that like a show like Game of Thrones. Like it doesn't have the drama of Game of Thrones or something like that, where you're like waiting for what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? I need to know who lives or who dies, kind of show.
Yeah, but every episode feels like its own little kind of side quest.
It does, but so did Rings of Power in that way, and Rings of Power is bad for other reasons.
Yeah, that was just bad though. Doesn't matter how many. Doesn't matter how you spoke that. It's bad.
Fallout. Like I've been watching like one episode of Fallout a night because like I just haven't like had the desire to binge it.
Sure.
And usually shows that I want to binge are shows that I would have watched weekly and had no problem with it because like I had to know what happened next. Fallout, I don't feel like that, and so like I feel like if it was weekly, it wouldn't have had the punch that it does.
No, I hear you. Yeah, but Fallout's good.
And I also started watching The Strain 20
Oh, really?
Oh, the vampire show?
2014 series.
Series?
Yeah. It's good. Like I like it, but it is super campy. Like there's a lot of dumbass like character decisions in that show. The kind of was like no sensible human would make this decision in this situation, but like it's fun to like laugh at that because of the results of what happens afterwards. Also, there's a vampire SWAT team in that show that comes
Yes,
out of
there is.
literal nowhere, and I laughed so hard.
They're vampires as the SWAT team, or SWAT team that goes after vampires?
No, the first thing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's ridiculous, but I'm liking it. It's quite fun to watch. But yeah, the last thing I want to talk about, I want to give right an update on the rat beef. I know I went to a big tirade last week, but it seemed like J. Cole had like squashed it because he gave a goddamn apology, which is just taboo. You don't do that. He essentially eliminated himself from the running of actually being the greatest, which of course I agreed with. He's not in the running for being the greatest, but other folks thought he did. But now he's no longer qualified. But no one cares about J. Cole, right? Drake may have actually responded, except folks are speculating that it might be AI.
Because there was an AI Drake track a few years ago that sounded like probably a year and a half or 2 years ago that sounded so much like Drake, and it was AI.
It's because people like Drake has been a big deal for a long time. There are people who can emulate his style. Like they're like just ghostwriters who are good at emulating his style. So all you need is that AI to just put the voice on it, and then boom, you got a Drake track, right? So like it's possible that this is what happened, except for the fact that and I have not verified this myself, but apparently the track was leaked on his Instagram, but then deleted like immediately after, and then of course it goes out to the internet. It populates everywhere else. Drake himself has not like claimed ownership of this diss track. But there's still that speculation. Oh, did he put this on his thing? It was there for like a second, but like who knows that for sure? Because who saw it, right? But Drake has been antagonizing literally everyone he mentions in his song. Because Drake's diss not only goes at Kendrick, which he does have some really funny bars against Kendrick in it, but he talks trash about Metro Boomin, who did the beat for the diss track that Kendrick did, as well as Future, as well as Rick Ross. So I did not realize was involved in this. Rick Ross was talking trash just separately on his own time.
Yeah.
And Drake threw him in there with another very funny line. Like the thing is, the bars in this diss response are good. Like this is the quality that folks have wanted and been needing from Drake as he's been sitting on his throne, just like he hasn't been trying. Like you can tell he's just collecting checks at this point.
Yeah.
But the bars in this were witty, funny, and like clearly like there was a fire lit up in him. And that's what the people have been wanting. Like, they've been wanting that back and forth. They want these artists to stop resting on their laurels and like get in the studio and like talk your shit. Like get up in there. So that's where things stand right now. Rick Ross, I think, released a diss track as well. It's trash. Don't even worry about it. Don't pay any attention to Rick Ross. He's doing his own thing. Lupe Fiasco said his piece. He's not involved at all, but he's Lupe Fiasco.
Just wants to be in the next Street Fighter.
Yeah, he has to. Lupe is a great, like he's a master of this sort of thing. It's fine that he's fine that he says like can't nobody fuck with me. Like we know you're right. No one can fuck with Lupe. It'd be funny though if someone did diss him so that he could jump in. I think that's what he wanted.
Tag me in.
He like it's getting everybody hype. He wants to be involved. I think that's what that energy is.
It's gonna be the Infinity War of
yes, like that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping because like while I'm not a fan of J. Cole, like his stable behind him is full of like a lot of really good rappers. Like JID or Jid is one of the best new artists I've heard in years, and like he's not involved in this at all, and neither is from Kendrick's side, J-Rock not involved at all. Schoolboy Q not involved at all. But if this escalates a little bit and all of these guys from the stable start throwing diss, like if they get like a whole Top Dog Entertainment or whole Colville or OVO, like Drake's group, I don't know who else is in Drake's team, to be honest, in terms of rappers. But like if all three of these guys just start going at each other, man, hip hop is back. Like it's saved.
We did it. All it took was shit talk, and then J. Cole, of course, sits out.
Right, like he's sabotaging what could be something great, which is so frustrating. But whatever, he was never in the conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah. No,
But yeah, that's your rap beef update, guys.
that's we got recurring segments, which is occasionally what they talking about. Yeah. Rap beef update. Didn't have any what they talking about this week. Maybe next week.
This is my only exposure to like pop culture news. So
We're good. We want you to be fully armed so that if you go to one of
Yes,
your downtown
to know.
meetups, you're able to talk about the things.
You
that
need
are
to
in
know
the
who to side with when the rap civil war pops off.
I still won't know.
when the rap civil war happens.
I'll retreat to my classic rock circle.
They'll be picking sides. They'll be picking sides. Uma Thurman chose Drake. Like, she was tweeting shit about Kill Bill. She showed her Kill Bill costume in his glass case and tweeted at Drake like, "Hey, you need this?" She's being real cheeky.
Wow. Fuck. Oh no. They got Uma.
She chose Drake.
My Instagram has just been full of Dua Lipa ads for her new album. So that's my exposure to pop culture. Is that and this?
There you go. See, you're fully formed now.
Which I actually quite like her music.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she's a good pop
really
artist.
good voice.
Barbie song was good. I like her Barbie song. The Holiday Inn with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. I'm behind live, but y'all talking about games at the end of the day helps me immensely. So thank you. The Holiday Inn. It is our pleasure. Also, thank you for providing such
just
great...
wait till you get to the end of the podcast.
Just wait. It'll be incredible. And thanks for providing us with such excellent hotels. Quintuple A with a $5 dono. Marty, have you seen this Rebirth commercial with Sephiroth selling noodles while wearing kitsune ears? I have not, but I'm going to now. Well, I'm not going to watch it right now, but I'm going to Google Sephiroth FF7 kitsune ears.
That seems very targeted.
Something weird is going to come up.
I already found it. It's porn. Thank you, Quintuple, for sharing. It's not porn. It's not porn. Don't tell anyone it's porn. Don't let anyone tell you it was porn. Dower Dodger, $4.99 dono. Thank you so much, Dower Dodger. How much do I need to donate to get Nick to wear the helmet all 12 hours tomorrow during the charity stream, starting at 10 a.m. Central?
I would literally die.
You might die, which wouldn't be good because you need to host a couple of those segments.
I can wear it during first class trouble because then you can't see if I'm being mischievous or not.
You're not gonna do that. That's at the end of the day. That's at the end of the day. You're not gonna have the energy to do that.
But also, you just won't be able to see anything. So
yeah,
then I won't know who I'm killing, and it'll be great.
I think that's what's.
It won't be great.
The Boston Strangler. I don't know who I'm killing, and it's great. A winged potato with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Is it worth going through the original X-Men show first? Struggling with that one. I haven't watched the original, like the old cartoon. I've never rewatched it, so I haven't watched it since I was a kid. And
I did not bother rewatching it. Yeah,
I was able to pick it up just fine. Like it kind of, you get caught up. I don't know. It was a cartoon for kids. So it catches you up pretty quickly on things.
Yeah, the show has a habit of doing like real quick bursts of exposition in certain sections because they know it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So like you'll just catch wind of someone just giving a little bit too much information on the situation.
Oh yeah.
But like they try to help you along with that so that you don't have to rewatch the whole
it'll very quickly be like, oh, this is why this character's not here, or this is the relationship these two characters have, or here's Magneto. And most, you know who most of these people are anyways. They will occasionally introduce new characters, and they're good at introducing who they are. So shout out to Morph. I like Morph because he's just a cheat. He's just all those fuckers. Be Smarch with a $5 dono. No message, just a dono to say thanks for all the great work. Be Smarch. Thank you so much. Thank you for your great work. And Anixia with another $5 dono. I just want to know why everyone turned on Drake. Is he a creep beyond what we already know or something? If not, do you think Eminem will back him up?
Everyone did turn on Drake. This is true. And it is partially because of him being a bit of a creeper, though it's like he hasn't done anything like super outlandish. It's just him being a bit of a creeper, like him texting friggin' 11 from Stranger Things. But really, it's the fact that Drake doesn't take any responsibility for his antics. Like Drake will do very petty things in music and in his behavior, and then kind of just run off to his corner of the world where he's the king. Like he'll just run back to his camp and like
Go back to Toronto. No one can hurt me. I'm in Toronto.
Right. He dated Serena Williams, for example, for a very short amount of time. But then when that ended, she went and married her current husband. And then he had like little dumb jabs to say about her. And it was like, why? For what? Like your exes, like get over it. Like same thing with him and Rihanna and her marrying A$AP Rocky. Like just get over it. Grow up. Right. That sort of thing.
Grow up.
He did it to himself. Wheelchair Jimmy.
Wheelchair Jimmy. That's a great name. That was his name. We didn't have another name for it. I think it was a different time. It was a different time. What a time to be alive. My game recommendation for the week is Botany Manor. Played a little bit. I started it last night, streaming a little bit of it. I think it is a delightful first-person puzzler. Visually, the aesthetic is very similar to The Witness in terms of its pastoral colors. But it is a first-person narrative puzzle game, kind of in the vein of like a Myst. But you are a botanist in an old English mansion around 1900, and the puzzles are you have a book that is full of plants, and you need to figure out how to grow these 20 plants. And each plant, in order to find out how it grows, you have to look for clues around the house. So you're like, okay, this plant is in a room where you can change the temperature. And so there's a very specific temperature this plant needs to grow. Okay, but here's a board with, temperatures each, depending on what region a plant comes from, this is the temperature they like. And so you're like, well, how the fuck do I find out what region this is from? And then you find a postcard where they said, while we were climbing the Himalayas, we came across this seed. And so you're like, the Himalayan plant wants this temperature. So boom, this is how you grow it. And that's like the first puzzle of the game.
They actually make the notes worth reading because they're important to the gameplay.
Yeah, it's great. I played it for 2 hours last night. Just really enjoyed it. If you're into cozy games, first person puzzlers, Botany Manor is delightful. I think it's available now on everything. It's on Game Pass as well. So
sweet.
Yeah, one of the games we saw at GDC, this Blueprints game.
I've heard that's very good.
That's gonna be like one of those games that I don't know how it ends. I don't know, but like first impressions, like it had like kind of indie game of the year written all over it, kind of thing. Yeah, it's like literally a first-person narrative puzzle game set in a house that's also a roguelite.
The house is a roguelite?
The house is a roguelite?
Yes, the house. The house is literally a roguelite. Like you build out, it's called Blueprints, Eric. It's you literally get a blueprint of the house, and as you enter rooms, like in roguelite fashion, where you choose like which power up you get, you choose the room that it's going to be, and it's a puzzle just to get to the end of the house.
There you go.
It's a really unique game.
Good. It's gonna be a good year for indies, man. They showed off some cool games this morning at that Nintendo showcase. Big Kitty, Little City. No matter how good the games are, the cat's coming back to take all those awards.
Yeah.
To anger KC.
It's a damn shame.
Shark Bunny asks the same question. Question mark. It's a house. It's a house roguelike? Yes. It's literally a house roguelike.
There you go. Perfect.
Blueprint.
Oh, blueprints. Blueprints, like a princess.
Yeah, blueprints.
But it sounds like blueprints.
That shit is clever. One of the rappers should use that on a bar. You think you're the blueprints, but you're actually just blueprints. And then Jay-Z comes in.
Yeah, they talked about it. They talked about it. Yahtzee and Jay talked about it in the GDC wrap-up video. So go watch that.
And then Jewel Ra with a €2 dono playing Blaze Blue. Entropy Effect. It's a hoot. You played that game, didn't you? Is that the fighting?
Yeah, that was me. I played that. That was the roguelite.
Oh, that was the roguelite. That wasn't the fighting game. Gotcha.
Yeah, there, Eric, on the trailer for Blueprints.
BlazBlue is a fighting game series, but Entropy Effect was the side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Gotcha. And then Onyxia with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Onyxia. Balatro, best indie of the year. IMO. I mean, that's probably the front runner right now. I would say if we had to give Indie of the Year award, that would probably win it. That game is a sensation.
It's definitely up there. Folks love it.
But it's a long year. Big kitties and little cities are coming. And little kitties in big cities. Could you imagine that one? That was just Stray, I guess.
Was Stray a big kitty?
No, just Little Kitty's Big City. Because this one's Big Kitty, Little City.
Is it Big Kitty, Little City?
To be honest, I don't know what this game's called.
I don't think that's right. I think you have it backwards.
Oh, what this game is called. It's fine. Then Miss Harmony with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. No message. Wait, that is a message. Damn it. You almost got there. You almost got there, and then you played yourself. To quote what's his name?
DJ Khaled?
Marty
DJ
Sleeva.
Khaled.
Oh,
Don't compare me to him. Little Kitty, Big City. I kept calling it Big Kitty, Little City.
Yeah,
Hey, look,
that
he's a
is
clown.
the reverse of that game.
Big Kid, Mad World. Oh yeah, I do have a little Jester's hat on. Look at me, the little kitty in the big city. We're done. I don't care if you're not done talking. We're just done. That was it for this week's episode of Firelink. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, Nick, what do you got going on? What should folks check out?
Well, first off, just to make George Lucas mad, I've been watching Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 2, but I'm not going to talk about this week. I'll save it for next week. I will have, obviously with the charity stream tomorrow with everybody involved, so be there at 10 a.m. Central for Helldivers 2 with Yahtzee, Jack, J-Mate, Frost, and I don't remember who's all there.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, people will be there. We're going to be donating money to Able Gamers charity, so you can go set a notification for that stream tomorrow so you don't miss it. The page is already up. The donation page is already up too, so let's do some good as a community. And then Friday, I'll have a new episode of Unpacked. It's not the big investigative one I've been working on. It's more about get me the fuck out of menus in video games, please. I can't put the F word in the title, but in this title, it's there.
You do whatever you want.
Is that bad for SEO?
YouTube don't like it. That's fine. But other than that, yeah, just check out all
Your
the
thumbnail should be the Cheesecake Factory. They got big menus. That one's for free. You get that suggestion.
See what you got
free.
coming up.
The next one's gonna cost you.
I'm taking it out of your paycheck.
It's come from
You guys.
We're all
You guys can find me at SigmaGears9 all over the social media places. Like Nick mentioned, we're doing a charity stream tomorrow, so no DMC. But it was a good place to stop because when it comes back the following week, we'll be starting the Dante half of DMC4. So looking forward to that. As usual, the fiance and I will be playing games to raise money for our wedding this Friday. So after you're done donating to Able Gamers, save like a penny or so, and then just throw that our way at the day afterwards. We're still playing through Baba Is You. That game got crazy hard the last time we were on.
Yeah, but luckily, I played that game until it got hard, and I'm like, it was too smart.
Yeah, chat was helping us out in some place. Like they didn't like solve it for us, but they gave us clues that led us in the right direction. So they're a big help. So like, yes, more people come and watch to help us actually try to finish that game. But yeah, outside of that, I should have by next week a bite size drop in. So look forward to that. And I think that's it.
Wonderful. And then just a couple last super chats. Nixia, another $5 dono. Hell, Balatro might be in contention for straight up goatee so far for me. It is too dang good. I probably, in general, I would say it's probably one of the 5. If a game of the year was going on right now, it would probably be one of the nominees. Can it withstand the next 8 months, though?
We shall see. It released early, which is usually not great.
That's tough. That's always tough. Then Brad, $2 dono, itty bitty kitty committee.
Congrats. I like that one.
That was good.
I like that super chat.
That was really good. And Jewel, thank you so much for the €2 dono. Forgot. Thanks, Casey, for the Sigma show. Also, a hoot.
Oh, thank you for watching when it was a thing. Much appreciated.
Absolute hoot. You know what? All beautiful things must come to an end. The Matrix Resurrections.
Sharky Bonus has got backup games in case there are server issues. What's that other game that Jack keeps wanting us to play?
Content warning?
Content warning.
Yeah. I gotta be honest. I don't really love that game.
Got it, backup games. Perfect. Cool. We're done. You did great. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Eric, as always. Thank you all so much for watching, for listening, for supporting. It means the world to us. This was Firelink episode number 18. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your evenings. We'll see you all tomorrow 10 a.m. sharp for our big charity stream that is going on for 12 full hours, including the return of Dokapon Kingdom. And Nick will be
Yes.
bringing his severed head with him. So tune in for that.
Somebody
have a
somebody
good night,
asked
everyone.
if this was comfortable to wear. It is not. It
No,
hurts.
it seems very uncomfortable. Bye,
Like,
everyone.
It's sharp.
Bye, everyone. Stop showing it. I want to
Bye.
leave. I'm done with work today. Bye.
I'm done.